What's up guys, welcome to Munchkin's Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkin's logging in to bring you another Exos Heroes video. And this is going to be my first impression on the new synergy character called Supernova Monica. So Monica is getting a Fate Core. There she is in all her glory. She looks really good. She is going to be a black Fate Core, so the pity for her will be 19 summons. So as always with my first impression videos, we are going to structure this by going through her passive skills, her active skills, and of course we're going to talk about PvP, offensive and defensive, and then finally we go through PvE and my final thoughts on the character, whether it's worth your zest investing on her. So let's take a look at her passive skill first, which is going to be Focus Fire 2. This is what she already has on her normal mode, I suppose. This will afflict the target with the Focus Fire mark and decreases their dodge and block for 1 round on her basic attack. She will also gain 1 mana if the target dies. Now the Superstar and Fan Meeting pretty much stays the same. If you don't know what it does, I have covered this previously on both my Janai video and my Wilkes video, but just in case you haven't seen those videos, basically Superstar will afflict the tension mark for 7 turns to the target, and basically the damage over time effects will increase in damage by 100%. Fan Meeting basically will afflict the anti-fan mark on the target when they are attacked. This basically will trigger double team on all living allies if the health of the enemy with the anti-fan is 30% or less. This is only activated once every 7 turns. So basically all your living allies will do their basic attack on that particular enemy who has the anti-fan debuff. So basically doing a ton of damage if you do have a lot of allies still alive. So next let's talk about her active skills, which the first one is On the Stage, which will require 2 mana. This will deal 187% damage to one target and will afflict them with the Frostbite damage over time effect, which will deal 82% damage every turn for 3 turns. Her second active skill is going to be Crowd Surfing, which will require 4 mana. This will deal 525% piercing damage to one enemy. Now overall, these are buffs to the current Monica that we have, or the regular Monica. The percentage is higher in terms of damage. Now I don't know if the required mana is the same, but that's something we can look at really quickly. So active skill 1 and 2. So we can go to the journal, which she is going to be a legendary character. I believe she is a little bit down here, and there she is. So 2 mana, and as you guys can see, it is a increased percentage of her damage, and the same thing with this one, still requiring 4 mana. However, the Fate Core version is dealing more damage, which is honestly speaking a whole lot better than what they did with Wilkes or with Wilkes. So I mean that is already a good buff altogether for the character. Okay, so now that we've gone through the passive skills and active skills, let's talk about PvP first. Obviously offensive. Let's take a look. So honestly speaking, I don't think there's anything that FC Monica is going to change in terms of PvP. Damage over time is still something that is very looked down upon for the most part, especially if you are fighting off Dragon Blood characters, since they do activate Wrath every turn that they get damage basically, and this bit will pretty much kill off your character altogether, since it is going to be activating constantly. So that is the biggest problem with the damage over time at the current meta. However, I still don't know if double team will activate per character. So I don't think so. I think it is only one, but you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I still haven't tested this out, and I haven't seen anyone actually, who actually pulled for Wilkes and actually tried this out. So if anyone actually has two characters who have fan meeting, can you please let me know if it actually can trigger per character? That means they will activate it twice instead of once. So I highly doubt it, but yeah, offensively I don't think there's anything else. The high amount of piercing damage is really nice, but actually if this was a burst, I think she would be much more useful. 525% is nothing to joke at for 4 mana. It is still a high burst amount of damage, but if it actually had a burst effect, I think she will have a little place in your maybe team 2 or team 3. Just because she can actually do a ton of damage off the bat if you can get that mana up. So like say maybe a FC Iris, that combination right there, that is still pretty good. So there's a very small niche for high piercing or high percentage damage characters. For example, normal Rudley or regular Rudley still has some spots in teams because of his high amount of burst damage, a single target burst damage. So I think she will have some sort of place in that. Now let's talk about defense. Yeah, I don't think so. Defensively, she's not a very good character because she will always use her active skill 1, which is a damage over time effect. So it's not that great. That's all I can say. She's not a defensive character. Offensively, like I said, she may have a spot in your team 2 or team 3 during tag team, but I wouldn't really put her on your main team. So there's that. That's it for PvP. Now PvE, I mean, damage over time in PvE is always great because they can take off armor cores, and having multiple armor cores of enemies like we have currently, and once you get to like chapter 11 and 12, it's always great. However, currently in chapter 11, chapter 12, you actually don't need an ice element. So the biggest thing for this one is going to be somewhere in the Dragon Holy Grounds, where she can inflict that frostbite and take off the armor cores. That means you're going to be doing more damage. So other than that, there's really nothing else in PvE currently. I mean, Infinity Core is still in the preseason. It's still not being, it's still not officially launched. And honestly, even in Upier's Labyrinth, I don't see the use for her outside doing big burst damage. If you already have a big burst damage character, I mean, there's really no point in getting her for that or using her for that particular case, unless Upier's Labyrinth will be like, oh, you can't use Denature, so you can't use Rudley, so you have to pick someone else. But I think there are other characters that are sort of fill in that role as well. So it really depends on what your roster is right now. So finally, let's talk about, is she worth your zest? Currently, what I feel for her is no. But that is because my roster, I already have someone who sort of fills in that burst role. So I don't really feel like it's worth investing on her. If your roster is somewhere along the lines, if like you don't have enough burst characters, then yeah, she can sort of fill in that spot. But again, it needs to have a burst effect. You probably would prefer having a burst effect character, or a character that has sort of a burst effect and can, increase your potential damage overall. Piercing damage isn't as great as it sounds. I think someone did the math on this. I can't remember who, but I feel like I've seen it somewhere before when Exos Heroes were just starting out. So it wasn't really that great. But still 525% is nothing to laugh at. It's still pretty good. So I would just say no currently. She's not worth the zest, only because of the fact that there are probably other better characters that you can spend on or try to get them. And like I said, she's only a black Fate Core. She doesn't get any extra ones. You're probably worth it's probably worth saving for another gold Fate Core, or maybe even a blue Fate Core, which I'm not a totally big fan of, but I know some people who are like stacking those blue Fate Cores, which will improve your team overall depending on what blue Fate Core that is. So that is it, guys. That is it for this video. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help the channel, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. You can follow me on Twitter and on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming, and of course leave down in the comments below what you think of FC Monica. Do you think she's worth your zest? I mean, she looks like a pretty good waifu to me, so that's probably one reason you're gonna pull for this one, if you really dig her. So let me know down in the comments below if you think she's worth it or not, and of course make sure to let me know as well about that double team. I'm not 100% sure of that just yet, so if someone can clarify that to me, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, this is Munchkins logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next level.